Greetings and welcome to the channel.
In this video we find ourselves in the St James Range, which is north of Hamner Springs and just to the left of Lake Tennyson. Thanks must go to Hamish Brown for taking myself and Gabor Imri out to this stunning location. We parked on the Mailing Pass track, which is about an hour and a half from Hamner Springs, the last 30 minutes being a pretty rough four-wheel drive track. Our walk started at 1300 metres, rising to 1890 metres, with our final destination being Princess Bath, which sits at about 1700 metres, and we were sitting at about 1800 metres, which is nestled in a valley just below Mount Princess, which sits at 2126 metres. After this stop, we then turned around and started heading back to the car. The distance covered on this walk was 7 kilometres, which took us about 8 hours. Yes, that was a long time, but there was lots of uphill and scree slopes to navigate, but also a plethora of alpine plant species to stop and admire. In actual fact, I had 3 hours of stopping time, so really the actual walking was only about 5 hours. It wasn't long into our walk and we were soon huffing and puffing as we had risen about 100 metres in altitude, but the views were becoming expansive and the clouds were lifting and the day ahead was full of promise of wonderful things to see. During our climb up to Princess Bath, there were some nice little flat areas where we could admire the flora and the views, and in particular this one here we were looking at what looked to be clumps of Salmisia semicordata or Salmisia monroei. You'll probably notice in this video that I won't do plant descriptions for every species. You don't want to hear me waffling on, so I'll just let the photos do the talking for a lot of them. Asaphila collinsoi, a giant speargrass. Plants can be up to 1 metre tall, with dark green leaves with red-orange midribs and rough margins. Leaflets are normally close together, usually overlapping, the stipules being short and simple. Flower stems are relatively narrow and their leafy bracts have prominent red to yellow midribs. This can be found on the North and South Islands, normally in subalpine to low alpine conditions between 900 and 1500 metres, often in moist sites in mixed snow tussock and snow tussock scrub, grassland and herb field. What a wonderful beach to come across as we're going through the grasslands here, although quite prickly, so one had to be careful not to run into them. Salvicea spectabilis. This is a variable tufted herb, usually forming mats or patches, but can occur singularly. It has thick leathery leaves up to 20 by 3 centimetres in size, which are green yellowish in colour, with the underside covered in soft felt-like buff, which is white to silver in colour. The flowers are on stalks to 25 centimetres tall and are 3 to 5 centimetres in diameter, containing white ray florets and a central yellow disc. It can be found across New Zealand in montane to low alpine habitats between 300 and 1700 metres. It is the most widespread of the Salvicea, occurring in many different habitats. Before we knew it, it was lunchtime, so we found a lovely spot on the top of the ridge line on the soft snow grass, looking across the valley views towards Lake Tennyson. And before we knew it, a couple of hikers surprised us coming over the crest and had a quick chat before they continued on their merry way. You never know who you run into in the wild.
Hello. Hello. Got any cameras out?
Yep.
Very nice.
This is the guy who spent Valentine's Day with the boys and the cameras.
Leave the missus at home.
Yeah. I've got my mother out walking, so. You guys just parked up here?
What's that?
You guys just parking up here?
No, we might get to Princess Baths, but we're going to get up on the ridge and check out the vegetable sheep up there.
The what?
Vegetable sheep.
What are they?
Have you noticed those crazy plants that grow like mats?
Oh, is that what you call them, vegetable sheep? I like that terminology. I'm going to take that. That's cool. You guys camp? You're just walking, day walk?
Just day walk. We left our truck down on the
Nice.
Oh,
pass.
that's your truck.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it's going to be some hunters or...
Yeah.
Because that's cool.
I saw the lunch chili bin in the back. That's good. Big lunch chili bin. Oh, it's bloody paradise. Enjoy. We'll see you guys around probably.
Yeah. Catch you later. Have a good day.
Stellaria ruffii, also known as the screed chickweed. This incredible plant is a greyish herb that forms open patches up to about 20 centimetres wide. It has leaves that are narrow and pointed and grey in colour. The flowers occur singly on the ends of the branches, nice little star-shaped flowers. This can be found on the South Island, mostly determined by its habitat in low to high alpine areas between 1,000 and 2,000 metres. It's confined to screes and other loose rocky debris, and like so many of the other screed plants, it blends in very well to its habitat. Lobelia ruffii. This is another screed plant that blends in very well with its habitat, giving it its common name, the screed lobelia. It has slender underground branch stems and roots, which weave their way around the loose rock and debris, producing short leafy branches up to 10 centimetres which emerge through it, with dark purple to bronze coloured, almost fleshy leaves, which are 10 to 20 by 10 by 15 millimetres in size. They are coarse and deeply toothed. The plant has small white to partly red flowers, which occur among the foliage on short stalks. This plant can be found on the South Island, particularly on the Greywacke Mountains from Nelson to Marlborough, in low to high alpine situations between 1,000 and 1,800 metres. Obviously, being a screed plant, it's on the screes and rocky debris where it blends in so well. Raulia bryoides. This plant forms hard, round cushions which can get up to 1 metre across. The leaves are densely imbricate, 3 by 1 millimetres in size. They are covered by hairs on both surfaces. The flower head contains 7 to 15 florets, being whitish to yellowish in colour. This is another stunning cushion-forming plant, which is also often referred to as one of the vegetable sheep. This is found on the South Island, on the dry mountains from Nelson through to Marlborough. It can be found in low to high alpine habitats between 1,200 and 1,800 metres. Salmisia lateralis subspecies villosa. This is a trailing or scrambling shrub which can form small compact patches. It has small narrow leaves which are only 6 to 10 by 1 to 1.5 millimetres in size, and they are green in colour. It has slender flower stalks which are 4 to 8 centimetres long, which end in the typical Salmisia flower with white ray florets and yellow dish floret. It is found on the South Island from Nelson through to Western Marlborough and south to the Paparoa Range in Northwest Land in low alpine situations between 1,000 and 1,500 metres. It is quite inconspicuous in snow tussock herbfield and it can be found on rocky outcrops as well. This is quite a stunning little Salmisia. Gentianella bellatifolia. This is a herb that forms rosetta leaves that are thick, green or tinted purple-black in colour, overlapping and channelled. It can have 1 to 13 flowering stems with single white flowers containing up to 40 flowers per plant. It is widespread across New Zealand in subalpine to high alpine areas between 600 to 1800 metres, but it is more common in high altitude tussock grasslands, fellfield and herbfield. Salmisia discolor. This is a highly variable trailing or sprawling subshrub forming loose patches up to 1 metre across. It has leathery leaves that have a covering of hairs above giving a grey-green colour and dense white tomentum below giving the underside a silvery appearance. The flowering stems are up to 15 centimetres tall and end in a flower 1 to 3 centimetres in diameter. It is widespread on the South Island, in mountain regions, in subalpine to low alpine habitats between 1,000 and 1,700 metres, in open areas of mixed snow tussock, snow scrub or herbfield. This is the last little push before we get to the top of the ridgeline here, where we're looking for some spectacular plants. Salmisia viscosa. This is in quite large patches and quite prominent. It's a low-growing, highly branched subshrub that can form extensive patches up to 2 metres or more across. The leaves are narrow, 6 to 5 centimetres in length by 6 to 9 mm wide, quite thick and rigid. Upper surface is dull green and glabrous, and underneath is a soft white tomentum. It has stout flower stems which are 15 to 30 centimetres long and quite large flower heads which are 3 to 4 centimetres across. in the typical Salmucia asteraceae family configuration of ray florets and the disc floret. Found in the South Island, east of the Alps from Nelson, Marlborough to Southland and East Fiordland, and normally located in high rainfall regions in the far north and far south of its range. Found in low to high alpine habitats between 1200 metres and 1800 metres in tussock grassland, herbfield and fellfield. Well, we made it to the top of the ridgeline, and what a view! With the Alps stretching away from us in all directions, the sun shining, bright blue sky and a little bit of wind, it was an unbelievable view. Hastia is a genus known commonly as the vegetable sheep. Some of the raulis are also called this as well. These are crazy looking plants that from a distance look like sheep on the sides of the mountains. And this is Hastia pulvinaris, a remarkable plant that forms buff pale yellow to lemon woolly cushions up to 2 metres across and 30 centimetres or more thick. The branches are tightly packed together with closely overlapping leaves, which are 8 to 10 by 6 to 2 millimetres in size. Both surface or just the underside of the leaf is covered in long hairs. It has small yellow flower heads which contain just the florets and no rays like so many of the asteraceae do. This vegetable sheep is found on the South Island, in Marlborough and the dry mountains of southeast Nelson, in low to high alpine situations between 1300 metres and 1900 metres. They are found on partly stable fellfield among the grey-wacky outcrops that are being shattered, and they are not found on mobile scree. Sometimes it looks like they are in the scree, but they are on these outcrops which are surrounded by it. A truly remarkable species. Some of you may be thinking, what am I doing in this inhospitable terrain, walking across this moving screen? Well, this is one of the few locations where you can find Hastia pulvinaris, Hastia minor and Raulia eximia growing together. So what a sight it was to see these three wonderful species of vegetable sheep growing together in this harsh location. Raulia eximia. This is another plant that has the common name of a vegetable sheep. It has a very similar growth habit and looks like the Hastias. This forms dense cushions up to 2 metres across and 100 centimetres thick. The stems and leaves are tightly packed together with the leaves covered on both surfaces by soft velvety white tomentin, giving the plant its light grey colour and a velvety texture to the cushion. The small flowers are 3 millimetres in diameter and contain 10 to 15 crimson florets. This is endemic to the South Island, mostly east of the main divide, from Marlborough to North Southland. It's found in high alpine situations from 1100 to 1800 metres, and it can be found on scree and talus slopes, cliff faces, boulder falls and fellfield. The only thing to say about this plant is that it's stunning. Hastia minor. This is another vegetable sheep that forms compact cushions up to 1 by 1 metre in size, though usually it is much smaller than this. Branches are tightly packed together with leaves that are 6 to 8 by 4 to 9 millimetres in size, which are densely compacted as well. These are covered in long whitish hairs on both sides or just the underside. Flowers are similar to Hastia pulvinaris and contain no rays. Again, the habitat is similar to Hastia pulvinaris, being 1300 to 1900 metres in fell-filled and greywacke rocks, also amongst the screes. This is an uncommon, sparsely distributed plant in the high greywacke rocks. Here we have Hastia pulvinaris and Hastia minor growing together. So how do you tell the difference between these two vegetable sheep? Well, Hastia pulvinaris has a lemony yellowy buff colouring and normally grows to about 2 by 1 metres or thereabouts, or maybe slightly bigger, whereas Hastia minor has a white tomentum which gives it a greyish appearance and is normally smaller and only growing to about 1 by 1 metre. So those are the two differences you'll see in these species, and seeing them growing together here gives you a good example of what they are. It was time to head back after our afternoon tea at Princess Bath. Still had about 3 or 4 k's to make our way back to the car. We had managed to see 3 of the vegetable sheep, including Hustia pulvinaris and Hustia minor, and also Raulia bryodes. So to say that was the highlight of the day would be an understatement. It was certainly a privilege to see these 3 vegetable sheep growing in one location. We still had a few things to see on the way back, including plenty of Salmisia and Gentianella and Drosera, and a bit of Asaphila here and there, and Caprosma, and lots of snowgrass still. But the views were still outstanding, and it was a perfect day.
Well guys, that's about it for this video. As always, I do really appreciate your support, so please feel free to leave a like, comment and even subscribe, and that way you'll keep up to date with all the latest happenings on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Cheers.